Show up with black ski masks on. I only want a proper introduction. Maybe all it takes is a baseball bat to show you what I do. The click in your jaw is a testament for trying to test me. Maybe all it takes is a baseball bat to show you what I do. The click in your jaw is a testament for trying to test me. Just the same way I was too.
And I want to reiterate it because I feel like people like try to make people put themselves in their own situation, which is good, and that's a good way to learn. Like if I was able to watch all of your guys' games, that's a great way to learn. But I'm gonna try to give you guys a very general basis on how to play these set lobbies to the top level, because like I said earlier, if you can win these games, if you're winning these games, or you're doing good in these games, or at least you're making it to the point where it was a small mistake of why you didn't get through to the, you know, to the bigger part of the game, like let's just say you made it to the first moving and you were 2-2-2 for mats, like those are very small things. Like you got there though, right? Because surge is a big thing in these lobbies, and staying alive to the end is a big thing in these lobbies, which we'll talk about. But yeah, if you can become really good at these lobbies, you can do anything. Like it is such an easy game past this point. And so first things first, I just want to go straight overview, right? Number one thing that you guys need to know, and that I want all of you guys listening to start to focus on, is drop spots. Like it matters so much. If you're contested, it matters so much that you know it in and out. It really does. And of course, like we all know, if you're conned at a spot, let's say like I'm conning Foxy Floodgates, right? Let's say that, like your odds of winning or doing well, because that, you know, you're having to fight. There's more risk taken. So obviously being uncontested is more of a reason to your success. And that all comes with preparation beforehand and knowing your spot. And for me, this season, I decided to mark this hill. I kind of just threw a dart on a board and said, hey, not literally, but I said, hey, I'm just going to land here. Like this looks like the spot I want to go to. I just looked at the teasers, the trailers, and really the way I've always played drop spots in my 7 years of competitive is whatever feels good to me. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but like, for example, I have minimal playtime at Demon's Dojo, but that spot just doesn't feel good to me. Like it doesn't attract me. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't like just the layout. I don't like it. The Punt Power is cool. I've played there a couple times. I don't mind it. Same with like Lost Lake. Like I just don't like that spot. Not saying that it's not a good spot. That spot's insane. But that just doesn't pull to me. I think that's number one. Like if I'm actually attracted to the spot in the sense of like I can really get down and dirty with it. I can understand and I want to learn it. That helps a lot, and just the passion of it. And I think that turning this into any other thing, it's like, okay, are you passionate about grinding game? Like, have you found a good way to grind your aim? Yes, you're passionate about it. You're going to be doing it just more freely, right? It's not going to be a stressful thing to have to do or something you have to worry about. So being passionate about your spot and actually like wanting to go deep into it helps a ton. The next part of that is just obviously picking a spot where you could probably get uncontested. And this mountain for me, I was like, this is probably something that I can lock down for trios. And obviously with my experience, I know that spots change and adjust and update. And I think that this spot is at a good spot. It's at a good state right now, but I think it can definitely be due for an update.
All right, timeout. We're watching Cease right now. Here's the thing about Cease. Honestly, I don't think he's a good fighter, but he consistently makes grand finals. So that means he sees the game differently. Because in every esport, there's always that guy who isn't a good fighter, but he's consistently at the top. Every esport you could think of, there's someone like that. Maybe they're not the best at like, X and Y, but they're just like the best at Z, or, top tier at Z. And this is a guy who you can watch and you can learn a lot from. Because if he can do it and you could probably beat him in a 1v1, you should be able to do it too. But you can't because you don't have the brain like this guy, probably. At least I don't right now. I gotta flex my brain a little bit more.
And obviously I'm not a fucking Epic developer. I have no idea. They might never touch this spot, but just general mountain lore has always been a thing in Fortnite. And as you can tell, this is like the mountain. Like if they were to make a trailer about a mountain, they would say this is the mountain. So that also played a factor into me wanting to land here. And then lastly, like regardless of if they make an update to the exact mountain, to the insides of the mountain, like there's going to be something changed nearby. Like this, for example, I didn't know this shrine was here, but it ended up being here. I didn't know this shrine was here, but it ended up being here. It's like those are things that like next season, this water might be like Jello, and I might be able to like get a flying hack or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're not necessarily expecting that because no one has any clue, but mastering a spot and understanding that like, okay, it's maybe not the best right now, but it's gonna get better is a really good thing. Like for example, this south spot. Like I'm not saying this is a top 5 spot. It's probably not even a top 15 spot, but like if you can get good at it, you can be the best at any spot, and you can win from any spot. You really can. And maybe this in the future, this spot has a connecting underground tunnel, which gives you a better rotate, or maybe this shrine goes away, so then the canyon isn't playing for it anymore, and you have an easier rotate this way, or maybe canyon goes away, or maybe canyon gets a pad on this hill, or maybe canyon right. So all of this can adjust season by season, and can allow you to just have a better spot. And if you're not locking in on a spot in general, like if you don't actually have something you're working towards, you're just going to be in an infinite loop and never really growing as a player. So that's drop spots, and that's why I feel like it's so important to actually be good at your drop spot and to want to stick and grind it out. And that's my thought process on how important they are. So this tournament we ended up being contested. Now, of course, again, I talked about it. You don't want to be contested. Your odds of winning are definitely not high. And obviously, we kind of squeaked into the finals. We got a 10th place, but granted, the points were extremely high compared to EU. But we knew this is like, okay, this is probably not going to go our favor. This is just not that we're a bad team, not that we're bad off spawn, but it's just not good. So what do? Right? Off spawn reps. We got in a lobby for probably 2 hours. We repped it out. Of course, we were contested earlier in the season, like the first week or so, by Bucky. He wanted to land here as well. So we had that early off spawn rep, me and my teammate Jack, and then obviously it was day at the time. Now we're playing with Blake. But we had all that repping, so we were able to get some good practice there. And I honestly don't look at this event here or any of the things that have been contested in the past as bad. Like you need practice there. If you want to be the best, you need these teams to come here. And honestly, I'm more happy and like blessed feeling that this was a team that tried to contest me rather than like a Bucky team. Like that was a somewhat scary off spawn experience because those guys also have a little bit of a head screwed on. I'm not going to say that it's fully tightened, but Bucky's, his head's on. It's a little bit on. These guys have no head, right? They got no brain. So to get any type of reps against a team in a real tournament, it just creates that comfortability for you in the future. And that's exactly the same way people say, how do I get better game sense? Well, you just need reps. You just need to play. You need more tournaments. You need more playtime. You need this. Same thing. Like the more we do this, the more confident we are. And of course, hindsight, we 5-0'd them. They didn't kill us one time. It was close sometimes, but the practice that we put in the night before was really, really important. And I think that's a really, really important value to share is that reps is everything. And if you can out rep a team, I think that's pretty clear, right? Like if we're all looking at our mechanics and we're putting him to Peter Bots, he has out repped us. Like no doubt, he has played more time. He has done more edits. He has done more edit courses. He has done more whatever, right? Like he has out repped us, and that is just simply showing that he is better than us. And you can turn this into any scenario, right? off spawns. We have out-repped this team. That's just plain and simple. And it wasn't like will we out-rep them? It was kind of just, we knew like these guys were just more of a random trio and less experienced trio. And so I just knew that if we were able to put in 2 hours of work the night before and actually study and create a new strategy and challenge ourselves, then we would win. And so here we are. We created a new strategy, and it turned out to be very, very favorable for us. Oh, shoot. My bad. So anyways, we'll fast forward to this. This is just off-spawn fighting. Like, we're just doing our thing. Whatever. A little close this game, but there's nothing really to dive in here. This doesn't really pertain to trios. It's more just like contesting. And again, reps. Reps is everything. Because we repped it out, we created some things that we didn't even pull out. I didn't even think we pulled it out in any of the games, but now we know. And it worked in the practice rounds we did. So we know that if we have to pull these things out, we'll be able to be successful with it. So again, we killed the team off spawn. Great. Boom. Now move on. Do your loot route. Execute your loot route. Again, this is something that we've pre-planned. This is something that I have in a Discord with me and my teammates. We sat down. We drew it up. To be honest with this spot, because this is actually one of the first times, maybe not the first time, but one of the few times I've played like a split drop or not, like, you know, landing at Canyon Crossing where you can like, you know, zigzag mark a building and like you're looting that, you know, other person's looting that. This is like a very, very big area to cover. So yeah, to be completely honest with you guys, I didn't really create a loot route at the start of the season like I would normally have done, because one, I just didn't know how. Like, but over time, just us being high level competitive players, we just optimized it, made it as good as we could.
What do you mean you don't know how?
And
You
I don't know why
fucking
it's
draw
like
a
that.
line on the
I don't know
map.
what's happening, to be honest with you. It's like bugged. All right, we're back, I think. Okay.
No,
So,
but
okay.
that's humble.
Right, we killed the team.
Humble
we're doing a loot
gimmick.
route. Easy, right? Got it. I would say the loot route as our spot could be optimized. It's definitely not absolutely perfect, but these are things that like we've been fortunate enough to not have to focus up on because of the positioning that we are in the map. Like, this is a pretty rare scenario where like you could have a pretty low route, pretty slow loot route, but because of the positioning you're in, it doesn't really set you back too much. Like, for example, masks, if they were looting, they got to be perfect. Like zigzag, boom, bop, bing, out, right? Because if they got a max pull, they got to go. Or if they need to, you know, they need to beat the team to this hill. And like for us, like we are in the hill, so our loot route matters a bit, and we are efficient with it, but we're not like digging too much into it. And I think by the time Grands comes around, we're gonna be absolutely perfect with it, like everything. And when I mean perfect as well, what I plan on doing, and to give you guys some insight, is I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna figure out. I already have a general feeling, but I'm gonna figure out which rock is the best and which batch of trees gives me the fastest amount of wood. I mean, as you can see, there's 2 here. Boom. What about metal here? I don't know. I haven't dug too much into it. I know that some of these pieces of the plane are not great. Some are really good. So what's the best? What's the most efficient time that I can spend? Right? Same thing here. We kind of know like farming these little gray X's. Those are solid, but my teammates, I want them to know the same thing. I want them to know what metal for them is the best. What wood is the best? Where can they get the best wood? Where if they you know build a bunch of wood and build the base here, where's the fastest way for them to refarm? Is it these trees or is it down in these trees? What about pearl? Can you pearl down? What's the radius, right? Like all these things you want to just figure out to your loot route to make it absolutely perfect to the T. And even past your own loot route, like I just mentioned with the trees, like figuring out things like, all right, I'm building on this hill. I'm getting build fought. Okay, I need 500 wood, 500 brick. Where do I go? I need to know right in my head right now, based off of now I have to run back to my teammates. Where's the best, you know, most efficient spot to go? So if it's here, then it's there. If it's over this hill, then it's there. So that's really, really important, and that's something we're going to practice up on. And these are the small details that you want to clean up, so that way in any scenario you can just be on top of it, knowing exactly what you want to do. And in set lobbies, that is the name of the game. Like that is literally how you can be successful with ease in these set lobbies, is having everything planned out so you are more able to focus on the steps ahead of you, and what pops up in the moment, because that's just inevitably going to happen. But I'm sure we know, create a game plan. How do you want to play your mid game? How do you want to play your late game? Those are all basic things, but going even deeper into it, like I just mentioned with the refarm, making it so that way if I do get fought on the hill, it's not even a second thought. I'm just like instantly doing it without even saying it. My teammates are already knowing it. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go farm the trees, and they say, oh, the trees, got it, right? They're, in that exact context, they know he's going to these trees, which I can watch this angle, and it just makes it easier. There's no thought. There's no like watch me here, no watch mass, or don't make sure I don't get lurked up on, like, right? Not in the big stages. You don't want to have that. Just have all those bases covered, so that way you can play flawlessly given any scenario. So here we are. For us, this is a pretty common poll. I haven't dug too deep into the like science of these zones, because it is just Fortnite zones at the end of the day, and there is some randomness. But these zones that pull like this, almost always, like I feel like it's a very high rate, like 80+% or maybe higher. They're gonna pull up here. They're gonna pull to the mountains or up higher towards Demon Dojo, Pumped Power, or Magic Mosses. They never really pull towards Shatterspan. They never really pull towards Seaport. It's not unlikely, but obviously in this case, if they do, we're chilling. I mean, we don't really get to go deeper than Seaport. But typically on these zones, I already know. Like, this is why we're leaving, right? We have the hill, and I think we'll see here in a second. If we want to sit on the hill, which is what we've done a ton in scrims, is just taking control of these mountains and just kind of sat. I mean, look, we would have tagged this team. This team would have been on the hill. We would have been able to tag with mass. We would have got our damage. But on a zone like this, we knew we had to go. And this is, again, something that we already had discussed as a team. Like, hey, all right, Blake, Jack, it's that zone. It's that north top right zone, right? We got to go. Okay, yeah, they know, right? And here is one of the faults that we made after watching these games back as a trio. And I think this is actually a habit that is super hard to pinpoint in the moment, but it just happens. Where you'll have a game plan, but you just will partially execute it, or you won't fully commit to it for whatever reason. Here, there was not any pressure on us. I just thought, really, I was like, okay, this is a base we could take. I knew it was empty, and I thought maybe we could sit up here while I refarm some metal, cap my mats. You know, we were already somewhat ahead here, as you can see. We already had a somewhat free rotate going forward. But in this turned out to be maybe 100 damage worth of surge, or maybe 0. So not preferable for, you know, the longevity of this game. Of course, in our VODs, we kind of knew that's I don't know if can you guys see my cursor, like my actual mouse cursor? Nah, okay. All right, I'll just fly over it. You guys could probably also see, but we knew this like gap space right here, like pretty much where I'm at right now. If we look at the map, right, it's empty. There's Seaport, the pink team, and there's the yellow team, right? It's empty. We knew this is going to be empty, and even with the best teams in the lobby, Vadil, and then whoever the best team here is, it's still going to be somewhat empty, partially empty. So this is a gap right here. This is just a general gap, just based off of the way the spots are set up. Like this team and that little colorful field, and then mass. Like there's no one here. There's no split here. And then same thing with this one. This is also a gap right here. This road, right? Pretty much from the road to like that tree on the little hill, you know, in between the building. This is a gap. I mean, we can look at the map here. You guys can clearly see these lines of these gaps. And again, even in the most stacked lobbies, I've found with my studying for these to be somewhat true. So if we need to rotate and we have to send these hills, we just know. We know this area is all free. And same thing if it pulls, you know, somehow pulls towards Lost Lake here, we can just hit this gap. And these are all things that we've pre-planned, so it's just easy for us. But again, this is the hesitation that we had, is just not committing to the game plan of like, you just need to go. On these zones, you just need to go. And this is, again, just showing just how difficult it really is. And if we saw, I don't know if you guys saw a second ago, but Visuals and Braids, they landed here. They were contested. They were the ones that built this base. They sat here for like, I don't even know, 30 seconds or a minute. And now they're already here. So they're already in Seaport. They're gone. And so they were able to cover all this ground without getting touched. And I think they did get this game. I think they got a 3rd place. And that's just kind of showing you on these zones, top right, if you're landing anywhere bottom left, or just anywhere that's not in this zone, like it's tough. You got to go. So that sacrifice of time we spent there on that base, whatever I was doing, farming up my metal, getting tagged, whatever it was just a big waste. And it definitely set us back, because now, as you're seeing here, the yellow team's moving in, the purple team's getting into position. Now we've got 2 pink teams over here setting up. They're going deeper in. We've got the hill kind of still doing his thing. So it definitely just delayed us. Now this guy's there. Meanwhile, we're still good on surge. It's not like the end of the world here, but it's just very difficult when you're coming in a little later. Again, still we're off the edge here, but as you guys can see, the gap, right? There's just no one here. There's no one anywhere on this road that splits into 3. There's the yellow team, that's really it, but everyone kind of goes around it. And same thing here. I mean, there's just one team on the left side, so just again, just reconfirming the gaps. So yeah, now we have to pay the price of rotating late, and not not getting into a 4 position here. As we can see, visuals in them are all the way deep, and they had the same scenario as us. They had kills off spawn. They had a little bit better loot RNG. We had I think only 1 sword or 1 pearl. Also, pearls obviously help no matter the scenario. Like you can pull out anything. I think if we look at Clix's team over here, they were able to get ahead of us just based off of them having triple pearl. Like it's just not something we can really complain about. I mean, we do land a spot that doesn't have perfect loot, so. But that's the power of the pearl. You'll see them here in a second. They cut right in front of us. The next thing that I think that's really, really important is something that we just didn't do this game, didn't do in the future games, because we've already watched these games back, so I know. It's just shootout bases. It seems like so simple, and it really is. Like I feel like you guys have probably heard it maybe years ago, or however long you've been playing. It's been a long time since you've heard that you should shoot out a base, because it is such a just basic tactic. You're just shooting this wall. Oh, there's a guy there. You built the wall. Okay, well then there's a guy there. All right, shoot this stair out. Is there a guy there? Nope. Okay, cool. You didn't build it. Could he be there still? Yeah, it's possible, but it's unlikely, right? So that's something we didn't do this game, and I think that we could have definitely taken advantage of it. I mean, if you're looking at hindsight here, there is nobody to our right. There is no one over here, and I mean, we can fly over here. There's literally no one at this thing. But I thought the entire time, because there was somebody there when we were initially coming up, like when we were in this bush, or when we were here for a little bit, there was somebody there, and because we didn't shoot it out, it was a threat in my mind as a potential someone who could just upset our game. Even still, like I'm looking at him, like, all right, watch that guy base on the right. Okay, we're gonna rotate the middle. Like, just I have decent AR ammo. Why not just take a couple shots as a team, break a stair, see what happens? And if we did, we would have seen that yes, that is free. And take a look at this road right here. If we just go straight up this road, right, empty, all empty. Could have rotated straight to zone, and that would have been a really, really nice route. And overall, as for the zone pull here and what you would want to do, getting away from the hill is very important here, because this is like a pit valley doom death. I don't even know how to explain it. This is one of the hardest zones for us as a team. I think for a lot of teams, there's a lot of these just weird shrubs and trees and hills and valleys and bad rocks, and it's just a mess, right? Like, so getting deeper here obviously is the best play. But obviously, if we were able to shoot this out and know ahead of time that there was nobody there, this rotate would have been absolutely golden. You would have kind of avoided the island, built around, probably would have stopped around here on this hill, tagged up this team, and then you're in zone by this point. But now you're pushing yourself towards the dead side. And if we just keep playing it out here, you'll see how many teams go to this mountain side of zone. They all kind of sit right here. Versus literally nobody. Like if we were able to get to this team here at the gas station, there's no one right now. Right? The surge not an issue. We have good kills off spawn, and we've just been tagging people up all game. And then zone pulls. I mean, if we can look hindsight here, like, okay, we're at the gas station. We have 1,000 surge. What will we do? Well, probably just pearl around, get your 5.55, refarm. Like, it would have all been golden. I mean, this is the team that went here. This is Shogun, by the way. They landed Shogun in this tournament behind us. So this just kind of shows just pushing yourself through, and clearing that would have helped us a ton, and being able to make the right rotate. And now we're just playing the game with everyone else. I mean, we are just in the mess here. And we don't have triple pearls, so our rotates aren't super easy. They're kind of scuffed. One person pearls, 2 people sword, building in a lot, boxing, building, boxing. Being safe and protected with it, because at the end of the day, like, the worst thing that can happen to us right now is we die. We're already good surge. People need surge, like these guys, right?
The worst thing that could happen is
this team could have definitely jumped in our box, and I think they ended up fighting Clix's team.
I needed to burp right there. My stomach's starting to hurt.
They could have jumped in our box, and that would have been a great refresh for pearls that we would have loved to have, and some extra siphon, that's for sure. So.
Oh, I feel like 1,000 pounds lighter after I burp right there. Oh my god. I'm negative weight now.
So now it's just.
I never heard of that one before.
It's just Fortnite. We're just scuffed. This game's already over. Like at the end of the day, 37 builds.
It's Fortnite and we're scuffed.
And I'll paint the picture for you guys. We just pulled. We went all the way to zone,
facts
all the way to Vert and Bryce X and Reet. went over them, got
Worst
all
thing
the,
that
to
could
the
happen
side,
is,
ended up having very
guys,
minimal mats, came to this tree.
it's
and it was just
Fortnite,
like,
we're
there's nothing
scuffed.
more to watch here. The big thing to take away is just, yeah, I guess the big thing to take away for you guys is to learn how important it is to plan your guys' rotates ahead of time. Because I can imagine if I didn't have this planned out, if I didn't have some type of thought, what am I going to do here? If the entire season I've been playing the hill for Surge, if I've just been doing that, and it's been somewhat working, but then in these set lobbies, it doesn't. Obviously, with reps, that's the reason why I know how difficult the zone can be. So I've been challenging myself to make it an easier zone for us. But if I didn't plan this ahead, if I didn't think about how I wanted to execute it, and even if I'm not watching it back right now, if I didn't watch it back with my team, I wouldn't have seen these little gaps, and I wouldn't have seen these little like slots for us to slide into. And of course, games change. It's not like a duplicate game. If it pulls again, it might not pull this exact same way ever. But it's going to be very close to how we want to play it, and that's what you're trying to fight for in Fortnite. So yeah, big thing to take away is planning your zones. And I think that wraps back into the first point we made of just having a spot that's equally as important. Like, as for planning your zones, the next thing I kind of want to do is just kind of show you guys. I want to just give you guys a glimpse so you guys can understand a bit. I'm just gonna go here, boom. Okay, you guys can see my desktop now. Yep, perfect. So how do you plan zones, right? What's the best way to actually like figure out where you want to go? Well, okay, we landed at the same spot all season, right? That's very important. I said that at the start of this. It's very, very important. You go on Loot Lake and you draw a circle. It doesn't have to be the exact size. I really wish someone would develop something or like a circle size that you could actually do this way better, because I think this is a very helpful like strategy.
That is a good idea.
So we'll use my spot for example here, right? Out of all the games we've played, all the opens, all the finals, all the scrims, all the whatever, everything, all the games I've watched, I'm using all this knowledge here, and I'm gonna just try to put it into play here. I'm just gonna put it on paper essentially. So we can look at this zone here, right? Look at it now. What would we do here, right? We're not in the zone,
Fucking
so we
mouth
know,
is on fire.
this is gonna pull even further, right? I'm acting like this is a real actual zone in Fortnite. We're not in the zone. We know it's gonna pull further. Okay, this doesn't tell us that much, but let's draw the next zone here, because this is what's really, really important here. So the next zone, let's say it pulls here, right? And we would probably know that because we, on this zone, the first zone, right? I'll change it to blue. The first zone, the blue zone, we would know we got to go. This is a high odds top right zone. We don't want to mess around with this one. We're going to go deeper here, and we would probably end up being around this area where Seaport is. So now next zone pulls, what do we do with Seaport? Okay, this is great. We would probably end up being in one of these positions here on this coastline, or maybe inside Seaport. Preferably not, but probably on one of these coastlines or this electrical tower. And that would be where we'd be. And then this next zone, as we can see, because if we got to that spot, let's say the next zone pulls, it pulls up north here, it would have been absolutely beautiful. Okay, we can pull this any direction. It would have pulled south, or yeah, south here. This would have been a little bit different, but we probably would have just wrapped towards the bridge and gone around this way. And you guys can do this on repeat. Just take the zones, drag them, moving around. What about this zone? What about this zone? What about this zone? You don't have to do this deep of like how many layers there are, but it's good to do at least 2 in my opinion. So pulling the zones, what we do here, what about here, right? And you're planning it out, you're writing it down, you're drawing it. Even like you can do it on the site like this, or you can do it on your own like screenshot, then paint.net it, whatever. And you're just drawing it up, so that way you know you've executed this in your mind. If this is happening, game 1, you're doing this. Game 2, you're doing this. And hopefully you can cross all the boxes, check all the boxes, and have answers to what you'd want to do in most zones. And yeah, that's zone repping. You guys have any questions about that game 1 / what we talked about? At least got you guys. All right, let's go see. Let's see what was our match history. So we had that game, kind of mid. We had a 12th place game. I forget what happened here. I'm trying to think. I know this is a rough game. We'll go into these real quick. We've already talked about a lot of general things. I think we can skip through to try to really find the most important moments for you guys. This zone, right? What do we want to do here? How do we want to play it? Already got it drawn up. Already know how we want to do it. I remember this zone actually. I'm gonna skip to the end here. We ended up pulling zones, obviously because we knew, and it pulled all the way to Seaport. We made good rotates. I mean, look at us. We're cat mats. We get a kill here. I think he gets the siphon mats. He caps me out. I don't even know. Not a lot of mats, or not like a 5-5-5 max or that shit. I'll break this down quickly because it's not that deep, and we can move on to the next game. Essentially, the issue this game was I was unconfident to push this team due to just the thought of
Shogun zone is
this
crazy.
is what this is all happening before I'm thinking about this, right? So they're fighting us. We're doing damage. Maybe we should have just jumped in. I don't know. Like we know they're below surge. Obviously, we didn't know they died to surge because we didn't get the kill for it. Whatever. They do end up dying to surge here in like a minute. They come down here and they just die. So, but I just didn't like that because I don't know what their damage is, right? I don't know if they're just something above. And a lot of teams, if they're really shambles, and I know that they are, they're probably lurking on this cone here, or they're probably like sitting above here and like just right. It's just a risk that I just don't want to take. And I think hindsight, watching it back, the play is definitely to just come through here, tell my teammates, all right, we're gonna push through this. We know it's a duo. We know they're weak. We know they're shambles. Just spray it out. Clear this wall. Clear that wall. Clear this wall. Grab the floor. Just kind of push yourself through it. Push, 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 push. Box. Right, and then here the path is just easy. You can see. Clear the tree if you want to see more of a view. Slide down, then you can see the view if you box in the tree, and it's just an easy rotate. But instead, because I was kind of worried about that, I got us up here and out of their way. I didn't want to have to go through them, and then it just ended up being, yeah, just a bit of a messy rotate. Now it makes it a ton harder. I think also here my teammates could have definitely built a bit of floor space here, or coned out and then jumped off. I think that would have helped a ton. But yeah, I mean, plain and simple, they kind of just had to rotate through the middle. Just due to me not feeling comfortable doing that, pushing the team through, and then yeah, they just created it through me tarping out, trying to conserve some mats. And again, I think hindsight, looking back at this is like a game where I just wish I just like the game one mindset of just make it work. Like I know it's you're here, there's no point in me building wood there. Like that's just like, I mean, with Blake's mats, Jack's mats, we were all very, very, very stacked. Like we did not. It's better to have numbers, right? So. This game was just a solo clutch, nothing crazy. But at the end of the day, points on the board, and that's what we needed. I think there was like two 25 or 30-point games. It's not like the worst case scenario. We needed some points. We knew we needed something. Obviously, when you pull zones, you hope it's better than that. But all that mattered. That was a very important game for us to get to where we went. Going into game number 3 here. This is one of the more important things I want to show you guys. It's pretty quick here, but we'll skip to it. So obviously, as we saw, this is, I mean, we can tell it's like a 19-minute game. It's pretty short. Why is it short? Plain and simple. If you die in these custom lobbies, in these stacked lobbies, if you die in the mid game, your game just got 50 times harder. Like that is not even an exaggeration. Your game just got so much more challenging if you died in this mid game here. If you died 6 minutes in, 4 minutes in, if you have to reboot and there's people that are somewhat stacked around you off spawn early game, like it's still not a great thing to try to reboot, or to have to reboot early game in the first minute or two, but it's not the worst. But if you die in this moment here, it's very, very bad. So Jack comes up here, kind of just skip ahead here, and he ends up going down to a spray in the back. The backstory in this is something that Blake just lacks a little bit of experience on. I think with more reps and time, it'll be good for him. But essentially, Blake knows the team's on this other hill. He opts to edit the wall and jump for the pad. So 1, they see the walls edited. 2, they see him fly away. Like they literally see him fly. I've watched his back, like I said. And so with that, this team is able now to move up into position here. They're able to get here, to get to the sword, or to get to, I don't know. It doesn't matter where. But like they're just able to move up confidently. And that is a big issue for us because we're trying to still tag teams up. We're trying to still farm up our mats. We're trying to still do what we want to do to get ourselves situated. Jack's over here farming up, tagging people, right? And, you know, unaware to the situation behind him, he just gets fried and goes down.
Oh my!
So
Block your
if
back.
Blake doesn't leave the hill, if he leaves the hill but in a better way, it's possible this team wouldn't catch up to us this fast. And I think if he just stayed on this hill in general, I think this is something that we talked about, like Blake was mentioning
your
how, you know, I
back.
don't get any tags on this hill, and I said, yeah, you're right, you don't, but you're playing such an influential role for us as a trio. Influential. What the fuck is the word influential? Holy shit, my brain just is cooked. You're playing a very, very important role for us as a trio. And having control on this hill is exactly that. Like, that team is now able to pull by us with him leaving it.
Integral, I think, is the word he was looking for.
And a point that he brought up was like, you know, if I just go down right now, right? I'm pretty confident this team was here. I knew that he knew they were there. And then I think he was talking about a different game, but like he knew no one was around us. Like, different scenario. He knew no one was there. And I told him, I was like, you know, don't you think I could get more tags if I just left the hill a little early or padded away? And I said, yes, you could, but look what you did here. Like, you decided to go down and get refarmed. And like, what damage did you get in that minute when you went down? It's like cross comparing and checking from your guys' spot, wherever you guys are landing, into our spot is very important. Or not our spot, sorry, but into your own gameplay. It's like, okay, if you did this, what would it do? If you did this, what would it do? And you're just checking back and forth. And that'll help you guys find the right answers of the right plays, or how to make the right plays. So again, Blake leaving the hill gets Jack killed, and then this game just is a full just dud. Like, we're just running through it. We're low on surge. We're running in a little late. We're fishing. It's just the whole thing. Like, it is just not what we want to play our game like. And yeah. Not only that, but we had still split mobility. I had the sword. They had double pearl. So it was just a whole mess. And that just is, you know, more of a reason why you got to be super sharp and laser focused when you're playing these set lobbies. You cannot have like yourself dying in the mid game. It's just not possible. You'll dud every single game. Okay, that was game 3. Going into game number 4 here. At this point, I think we had 100 points or so. So we were coming closer to what we wanted. Because that was a decent game, like, point-wise. We already had the kills. Like, we already had a decent couple placement points. It was enough to make it okay. What does Blake actually do there, though? He controls the hills. He controls anybody coming up. And in our time playing scrims on NA, obviously, if this is like a global event, maybe people would challenge us for it. But people know, like, I mean, if you don't already know that there's a team on the mountains landing here in general, and you can't already tell this is one of the biggest peaks, you know, there's not really much of a reason off of those 2 points why you'd want to just push up into the hill. But then again, you see a base built here, and like, you're definitely not going to want to push up against it. So, and that's what he's doing. He's controlling it, and he's not having to do a ton of damage, and he's not having to, like, you know, shoot people away. There's not many people that are trying to push him out of the position, but the eyes of that, like, they're coming up the hill and they see the base. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna not go this way. And that's exactly what happened. They saw Blake wasn't there. Like, imagine if there was no base there for Blake and he was out there tagging whatever. Every few games or every so often, we would have a team do that. We'd have a team lurk up on the hill, come here, take it, shoot us in the back. Now we're trying to, like, coordinate. Oh, I need metal. Well, now you can't get metal. Or you need to get wood. Well, now you can only get this wood that's down in the valley. Oh, you need brick. Well, you know, I'll only get this that's down in the valley. It's like, it just limits your options a ton more. So yeah, this game we ended up being uncontested. The team left after we 3-0'd them, or maybe we were on call last game. I forget. So now we get to play. We get to do our loot route. We saw how we were when we were uncontested, or when we were contested on Surge. Now we can kind of see what we were like when we were uncontested. And of course, we pull a pretty solid zone for being uncontested. This is definitely a favorable game for us, and we knew how important this one was for us. So we're doing our basic thing. We got Blake posted up. Me and Jack are doing our thing, and again, he's just playing control. And also, for those that don't know the stat line, Blake had more damage than me and Jack total in the tournament. So him doing all this still made him, like, he was just fine. And I mean, I did explain this to him when we first started playing, that, like, look, buddy, you're gonna be sitting on the hill. Like, we had day there before. You're gonna be sitting on the hill AFK while me and Jack are out here tagging. Also, I want to say, just as a trio, for those that are IGL on their team, Like, right? Why not? Why don't I sit on the hill, right? Do I have worse aim than Blake? I think that we probably have somewhat similar aim. I think that like the position that you put yourself in, honestly, I'll say I think that Blake would probably get a bit more damage. Like he would probably hit a couple more tags, but I think with the experience that I have in the spot of knowing where to look and the angles and the timing of that, that helps me get a lot more damage than I think Blake would with the time that he's spent here compared to me. So I think that's very important. And I also think that, again, yeah, he probably has a better aiming mechanic than me. Like he's probably better overall. But most importantly, and the reason why I think that this is more important for me to be not sitting on the hill, even though you could assume this would be the scouting spot where you would see, is it's kind of the opposite of that. Like this spot is only scouting basically one team and the people that are coming up the hill. That's all you're doing. So you can't see if there's somebody at the bridge. You can't see if there's someone at the lake. Like you're a little limited, but again, you're playing control. And I think that's a perfect role for either of my other teammates to play. Versus me over here, I can still tag people up, but I can see, okay, there's a team coming here. So I've got, you know, if I see them at that white house, I've got probably 30 seconds before they get to the lake. And then, you know, I've got a minute before they get to the gas station if they're, you know, building all the way there or white lining or purling. So it's able for me to actually see the game more clearly rather than just, yeah, sure, Blake has better aim than me and like he could be getting more damage than me, but I would have way less of like a visible plan if I wasn't out here, you know, looking at it. It's a big reason why we all scout rotates, right? That's very important. So we knew that we had a ton of surge. We already had killed a guy from that base. We got the full kill. We were tagging kids up. It was all good stuff for us. So with that being said, I mean, don't have to overcomplicate it anymore. We knew it was going to keep pulling. Obviously, we were partially in this zone. So, you know, with my experience and me doing zone theory testing, like I just showed you guys on Loot Lake, I just knew this is going to pull a zone where we wanted to go. So I'm going to get us in the right position. So we go to the south side of Mass Meadows. I'm refarming. I'm rehealing because I needed whites. I think I also didn't have whites near me, so I was like, like we gotta go. Like if I don't get whites in Mass Meadows, which I know I will get some, then GG's. We have no. I think we had splashes only. Yeah, so we're not wasting those. So we're 1376 above with only one kill. So our surge from our spot is obviously just fine. And what I had us set up in was I'm gonna refarm while Blake shoots, and then I'm gonna go up. Blake refarms while I'm able to scout, and the timing of it is exactly like that. I'm refarming first, Blake's shooting, then when zone's about to go with 43 seconds left as it's closing in, right? Now I need to scout. I need to see what's going on here. So Blake is really just getting as much refarm as he can in the next 35 seconds. As for Jack, I'm positioning Jack out on a spot so he can hold and kind of somewhat create a dead side. He's pushing teams away from us, right? He's making sure that this back area is clear. He's also being able to see. I don't think anybody came in his path, so he didn't have to like push someone away necessarily. They just kind of avoided him. But he's able to see like, okay, there is a team south, right? Versus like, all right, Jack, you know, let's just put our head in the floor and refarm this, right? Ready to go? Maybe there's a team south. I don't know, right? We already have that answered. We already know there's team south, and he can start to play timer of saying, okay, yep, I saw them 5 seconds ago. 30 seconds later, yep, they're probably gone, but they could still be there. Okay, a minute later, there's no way they're still in the maze, right? Like you can start to play that timer, and he can do that more efficiently with him having way better like viewpoint on it. So he's just feeding me information, and I'm just trying to start planning out my rotates. Like, okay, if it pulls here, what do we do? If it pulls there, what do we do? I see it goes. I route my way back to Jack, right? Going out and around so I don't get shot from anybody inside the POI. Jack knows. Boom.
That's so funny.
He's already
Thinking
planned this
about
out. Easy. We go. We've got our
bullshit.
good surge. We already know it. Blake's been frying. We rotate. And here we see this team. That's obviously the team that Jack saw before. We can see that they didn't see that we were coming behind them because we didn't purl. We didn't make any noise, so there's no reason they should know. Also, side note, right then, before I knew we were going to fight a team, or before I knew we were going to be in any engagement slash, you know, on a sketchy rotate, like, you know, think chaos is about to happen after this. I dropped my shotgun to Blake. I, you know, made sure they had ammo. I kind of resituated my team. Because before that, we were refarming. We're focused on damage. Like, now this is our dead time, right? So the times you do things are very important. Here, we have double pearl, me and Blake, and Jack has a sword. So I say, okay, Jack, I want you to go ahead here. Sword ahead. And we're going to try to pull him out here. Because I'm assuming they won't see us. Or they might think you're a solo. Whatever it is. So he goes. And the timing was just absolutely perfect. It wasn't anything that Jack did. He did go, but they literally just peeked us like, or peeked over the ramp. Super unaware. And so we kill a guy. Roll up. Play the body. We get another kill in the process. And this was huge for us. Not only were we able to get that kill, which got us 555, capped our loot, got us, you know, a better shotgun, whatever, but it also gave us a insane scouting point. It made it so we could see over everything now. We had a clear sight into the next zone, rather than like, okay, let's say they're up there, then they see us. All right, we're building in, coming in. Like, I probably would have ended up boxing around here, or maybe I would have like tried to pull out to this way just to get away from them. But this is my rotate. Now I'm saying, okay, well, let me see here. Hopefully this team leaves, right? Now we don't have to play off that. And I don't know what would have happened if the zone pulled like this and we didn't kill them and we were down there on that rock. I don't know. I really don't know what would have happened. I think we probably would have ended up just using our pearls and gone more right, because I mean, obviously it's dead side. We know that. So I think we would have been fine anyways, but this gives us a lot of viewpoint. So yeah, we pearl ahead here, and then right, checkpoint it, right? We go straight to the bush. Okay, checkpoint, stop. Tell my teammates, all right, you're going to watch here. You're going to watch here. I'm going to go ahead. Or however you want to set it up, just set it up. Boom. Got it. Yep. Watching the back. Care for the back as we're running up. Just I'm telling my teammates where they need to worry about. You know, I'm not saying anything about the POI because there should be nobody there. But I'm more so saying there's guys to our left here. And then here's the one thing that I wish that I did better, and that I'm going to try my best to do better going forward, is I know, like, from this bush, right? Before I'm even going up here, I know my plan is, right? I'm going to go up the ramp and we're going to shoot the pearl, right? Because that's kind of the same thing we did there. We got to the top of that base, we scouted, and we went. But I think the issue is this going to the top here, obviously, given the scenario, they were dead. So, like, there was no threat, you know, and there was a lot of builds here versus kind of less. This, like, we had more time. Like, we could sit behind a peak, kind of shoot it where we wanted, boom, execute it. Here, we're in the open. There's no walls on the side. There's island as a threat point. And so there's a lot more, like, it's just like once you go up there, it's got to be quick, because if you do get fried, it could be really bad. Like, this team over across the way could definitely do damage to us, or just not that they would kill us, but just a 30 damage tag. And they did actually shoot us. So, yeah, Sales is over here shooting me from the right. So it's like, this is something that I wish I planned more ahead of time. Like, okay, when I go up here, guys, we're going to go up the ramp. I'm going to quickly take like a mental screenshot. That's what I said in the VOD review with me and my teammates. I said, I'm going to take a mental screenshot. So I'm going to go up here. Right, mental screenshot of this moment, and you're just keeping your eyes open further. You're not looking what's in front of you. You're not looking at the island. You're looking at your rotate. You're taking a mental screenshot of the landscape around you. So I would see here, right, boom, this green to the right with the rock, that's a free spot. This little dip right here where we ended up going is a free spot. And then, you know, if I go to the top here, I could clearly see this left side is a mess. And maybe even here, I kind of wish I would have taken like I did see this as I went through, so I knew like the left side wasn't free, but. Right, I didn't take a mental screenshot, and to be completely honest with you guys, I completely blind probed this. Like, I literally just said, no, I don't want to go left, I'm going right, and we shot ourselves into a great spot, like right into the open. Nobody sprayed us. It was perfect. But that's something that I wish I did a little bit better on, just being ahead of the game,
Don't get hit.
taking that mental screenshot and being able to play my rotate perfectly.
And you pulled zone. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think there's anything more left to watch here in this game. I think it's just literally the end game. We just got in zone. I mean, you guys saw we got the refresh. We're cap mats. We pearled, box. Let me go wrong tab. So that was that game. That got us a huge game. We were at, I think, like 130 after that game, and we thought we needed 170. Ended up we needed the game we got, a really, really good game. So we're like, oh, this is not bad. I think we were like tied for like 12th or 13th, and like it was like us and two other teams that were all around the same points. I guess that means tied. I don't know why I re-explained it, but yeah, we were very close to being in the top 10 placement wise, but the points wise from 11th to 10th was a lot. It was like 170 to 130. Like, that was us. All three of the teams that were tied for 13th, we all needed a ton of points in order to get into the top 10. And we knew going into this game that we needed to re-execute exactly what we did. We needed to have a top 5, top 3, Like that had to happen, and we knew that we needed a team to choke in the top 5, and that is not something that you can just make happen. Like that just has to happen. And I told my teammates looking at this at the leaderboard before
My perro.
it happened, I said
My
there's
dog.
there's like 2 teams in here that are like bound to choke.
I'll
Like,
give you a
they're
little.
inexperienced type teams. So it did. I mean, those 2 teams, I think at least one of them choked, and I mean, yeah, we predicted it. Last game we ended up being contested, which is kind of a crazy thing to do to a team, to like come back after leaving, but they knew what they were doing, so we killed them 5-0. I think they finished dead last, and now we're doing our route. We're like, great, we pulled a perfect zone. This is everything we want. We'll skip ahead here, and again, this game turned out to be absolutely like perfect. Like this game, not perfect, but like bailout. Like we got, like everything worked. Like this shouldn't have worked, and it worked. We ended up getting keyed and fought by walkers in them, and we watched this back, and this is something that we saw earlier in the game with Blake leaving the hill early. Right here, he leaves the hill, and Mississippi and them, they're below, so he wouldn't, wouldn't expect it. But I did tell him after this, like, I think you should just sit here, like literally pad as zones coming with you, because if he did, right, you can see the glides here. These are the guys that end up keying us. These guys are, I think they're getting coached by like Peterbot in this game, and he's just like, you just need to key, go for a 20 bomb. I don't even know. I think they're just trolling. Like these guys are doing horrible, right? It's the only chance they have is to win the game with the best loot. So they end up doing that. They key us. I go down. Let's skip ahead here. But we talked about this earlier. Like, okay, if you get rebooted, it's not gonna look pretty for you, and the odds are very low. So what happened? We got rebooted. I got rebooted, and the odds are very low. We're not great loot here. Let me take a look at our loadouts here. 65 builds. 24 builds and 88 builds. Somehow we have mobility, but it's not great. It's a 3 charge pearl or max charge blade, so I went for the blade. Good on surge because my teammates were still doing damage and they didn't die, obviously. But not pretty. I mean, we're coming here in our final game. We need a big game. We need a top 3 here, and this is what it's looking like due to me dying. And like, yeah, man, that just shows how important it is. You cannot be dying these games in the mid game. It's not possible. You will not be successful. So we pull some pretty good zone RNG. It doesn't obviously bounce hit us out of the map, and that's what makes this game possible for us. And we also carry that fishing rod, so we know that there's water in the zone. Get a kill here on this guy. We are able to get some extra loot. Get hit with going for it. So we do. I pearl. Start fishing. Zone pulls again as soon as we get here, so we pearl again just to get as much time as we can fishing as possible. And we fish. And we fish. And we fish. And this game just comes into, like, it's shambles. We're going to need a kill here. The mindset right now is like we need to let me just fish, get us as stacked as possible so we can have heals, because right now we don't have many. 6 minis on Jack and 2 minis on Blake. So let me get us some heals. Let me get us back here. We've got some guns. I have an auto shotgun. We have a little bit of mobility. I've got 1 pearl left. And I'm just fishing. We're just fishing. Zone pulls. We end up rotating into the dead side, which is obviously just a smart play. It's pretty simple. And now I have no mobility. And this is the tough reality. You have no mobility. You got to build it in. And here we go. Now we're in the end game. Past this point, we pulled first moving, so our big goal here was like, okay, stay ahead and control low ground. That's what we wanted to do. That's what we've been doing all tournament, what we do in a lot of practice. Control low ground, control low ground. So we go. And we're just looking for ways to get through. Break in. Mats aren't great. I'm burning metal because my teammates have literally nothing. Jack has 3 builds. Blake has 30. And it's not like he's got 1-1-1, so it's not like he's got a ton of options here. Mat refresh. This team ends up tarping in front of me, or like pearling in front of me. So I wasn't even playing with the intention to fight these guys. I was just playing to just get them off my lair. And of course we needed a refresh. I think that was my wall that we just got in there and it stuck him in. And absolutely perfect timing. My boy Andrew 1X with 84 builds goes down. So we get this refresh on him.
84 builds. No.
He goes down. He ends up giving me a pump shotgun, which if you guys haven't seen the clutch, that is like, I mean, that guy just, he did it. I wouldn't have been able to done this with like a auto shotgun. So get that refresh off the guy. I mean, I'm great mats now, cap mats. We go down, continuing to control low. And I feel like I've watched this game 8,000 times, but this was one of the biggest faults of us that I think we would have killed this team way faster. This is like the duo of that guy we killed. But just building a box here, I did make the, like, I know the rule, right? So I made the box here. I know that I should be doing it. I did it, but it just ended up being something that was uncomfortable to me because this guy was also above it. So I just should have just made the box. And there's a stair there. It's just like, what, like, just make the box. Always make a space. Don't be stuck on low right here like this. We get through, we push left side. And the next thing that's really, really important here that I think my teammates didn't do here, obviously, but hopefully we'll start doing is just start stand pumping. As we're coming through here, right? You're double pumping this wall. Grab that. You're getting this floor. Grab that. You're getting this stair. Break this stair. Put a cone. Right? Make it so we don't have to, like, stick against this wall here. Like, my teammates are quite literally, like, if we look back at this, they're doing nothing. Like, they're doing nothing. Thank you, Ann. They're kind of just following. And, like, I mean, this isn't a rule that we had set up until after we watched these games back. So, obviously, this is hindsight now. But, right, he's just running around, sticking on me, crouching, right, waiting. It's like there's nothing you could do here. But what you should be doing, and I think that the play is just to start pumping things. Clear the layers out, grab pieces. Because what ends up happening is these guys have the top here, and they're, again, not doing anything. I'm trying to drop the mats, give me mats, scout the rotate, spray ahead. It's like I can only tell them to spray out and clear theirs so much. But if they're just sitting here pumping, claiming things, it's so much easier.
So hard to recognize this in the moment, but like you see the zone pulls to your left a little bit. Like if you're perfectly looking to the west, zone's gonna pull to your left a little bit. I mean, he's looking perfectly at the wall, which means his west. So you know the zone's gonna pull like a little bit over here, and that's how he got on the left side. Excuse me, with 20 health. That was really difficult to recognize sometimes, so good for him. This is a Peterbot fanboy, fake Peterbot.
So they go down because they're just not claiming the space, and I'm also not, like, I mean, not expecting a team to be there for sure. Blake comes through here, and now it's just,
yeah, he's in such a bad spot. Well, but this is Blake. This isn't even Cease.
I end up getting a kill up top there on a guy. I get some of his mats, gets me like siphon. And then yeah, clutch from here. Got a kill on vert, getting siphon, sprayed through.
Nice.
I intentionally didn't break the cone so I could give myself some cover because I knew I had siphon, so I knew I was gonna be fine. So wait for them to fight it out because if I didn't, I don't know. I guess honestly in the end game it doesn't really matter, but I always just have it. I'll view like cleaning up a fight as like I want the player to be like trading shots, which I guess it did actually work in our favor because they did actually trade shots and they both got each other like 1 HP. Obviously I killed the other one, then I killed both of them. So they did trade, but I just viewed it like how I would view a third party across the map. Like I'm gonna wait for these guys to build fight over here, and then, you know, once they start trading damage or they get knocked or they die, then I'll go in. So that's just like, I don't know, just default Fortnite mindset. Kill a guy, kill his teammate, or kill the other player. Get the mats. Squeeze through low ground here, avoid that shot somehow.
Get
that
the
was just
mats.
lucky, but yeah, past this point, it's just my teammates calming what they
Zone
want to do.
wars, yep, drop down, nice. Nice
Okay,
shot.
so trio, duo on low ground, or solo low ground, whatever.
Nice shot.
Typical Fortnite comms. They do it. I drop down, kill a guy who's
Wait,
weak.
Cease is actually a guru.
This is it, man. That was the clutch, and that was 205 points. And
oh, he doesn't want to watch his death. That's funny.
I don't know if it'll show.
Poor fellow. He's gonna turn off right before he does.
Absolute cinema. But we're at 196 right now. I think we were already above this guy. So if we died right here, we would have qualified by 1 point. If I died right now, but if this guy killed me, actually no, wait, we wouldn't have qualified, right? If I died to this height team, this guy got second. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I needed to kill this guy in order to get through. If we both died to Storm and no one killed us, then we would have qualified by 1 point. But it worked out. 195, and I got second place plus the kill.
Yep.
And then lost the 1v3 unfortunately. So that was our FNCS. overall,
Doesn't want to watch his death. I feel it.
most important things to take away from this is
It's just
playing your rotates ahead of
you can
time
tell.
and lock down your spot. Like really lock in your spot.
That was a
that's
Guru
so important
clutch.
to being successful in these lobbies. And then
Dude is actually